Welcome to Box Recaps. Today I'm going to explain the movie The Flash, released in 2023. The movie begins with Barry Allen entering a cafe. He's on his way to work and is stopping to get a sandwich for himself. He then gets a call from Alfred, Batman's butler, who informs Barry that there has been a robbery in Gotham and the Flash is urgently needed. Barry tells him to contact another Justice League member as he's already running late to his office. But Alfred informs him that the others won't be able to make it and Batman has specifically asked for him. Barry quickly changes into his Flash uniform, but despite knowing that he is running low on energy, he rushes towards Gotham. He arrives there in seconds and goes to the building where the robbery took place. Batman has gone after the thieves, and Barry is left to deal with rescuing the babies who are trapped inside. The building then begins to collapse, and the newborn babies and their nurse all are thrown into the air. The Flash uses his super speed to rush up the side of the tall building, but midway realizes that his energy has run out. Luckily, he finds a burrito in a falling microwave and quickly eats that to recover his energy. Due to his supersonic speed, time around him is slowed down, and he's able to eat and carefully rescue the babies and the nurse. Meanwhile, we cut to Batman, who is chasing after the thieves on his motorcycle. The men are firing at him, but he manages to dodge the bullets. He then jumps onto the car as it drives onto a bridge and begins attacking the men. The man with the stolen suitcase jumps into the river to get away from Batman, but Batman gets a hold of him and they both get suspended over the river. Alfred informs Batman that the suitcase contains a poisonous chemical, which, if exposed to the city's river, will be extremely lethal. But Batman's gadget malfunctions, and he's unable to pull himself and the thief up to safety. To make things worse, his grip on the man is slipping. Thankfully, Wonder Woman arrives to save the day and uses her lasso to pull both men up to the bridge. Flash also arrives, and the three of them catch up before Diana flies away. The Flash then returns to the bakery he was buying his sandwich from earlier and then heads to work. There, his boss gives him a lot of crap for being late again. Barry then gets to work and socializes with his colleagues. Later, we see him meet up with Iris West, his old friend who is now a journalist. She tells him that she's been keeping up with his dad's case and begins talking about how he's accused of murdering Barry's mom. But the evidence is against him, and he will probably get a death sentence at the next hearing. Barry gets extremely triggered from this conversation and tells Iris that his father is innocent. We then see Barry in his Flash costume in front of his childhood home. He recalls being a child and spending time with his mom. On the day of her murder, she had been cooking and had asked Barry's dad to get something from the store. Barry had then gone upstairs, but later when he had heard her screaming, he had rushed down. He and his dad found his mother stabbed and bleeding, with Barry's dad screaming at him to leave. In the present, Barry is extremely distressed at these memories, and not knowing who killed his mother and how his life would have been so much happier if his dad was not in jail for being accused of murdering his wife. How they would have been a happy family together. All this makes him so incredibly sad and frustrated that he begins to run. He runs faster and faster, so much so that he breaks through the speed of light. He arrives in a dreamlike space, the Chronos space, where he witnesses all the past events that took place in his life. He realizes that he can travel into the past, but does not interfere with anything yet. He returns to his own time and goes to talk to Bruce Wayne about what he just experienced. He tells Bruce how he has discovered the ability to time travel and talks about saving his mother's life. He even tells Bruce that he can possibly save Thomas and Martha Wayne as well. Bruce hears him out, but tells him that the past events are what led them both to where they are today. If Bruce's parents had not been killed that fateful night, Bruce would never have grown up to adopt the Batman persona. Similarly, if Barry's mom had not been killed, Barry would not be who he is today. He cautions Barry not to mess with the past, as the consequences could be drastic and unpredictable. Barry listens to him, but still is convinced that he should do something, because finally he has an option of actually helping his father and mother. Iris arrives then and apologizes to him for their earlier conversation. She then mentions the CCTV footage of the supermarket where his dad is seen buying the tomato sauce that he had gone to pick for his wife. But since he never looks up into the camera, it can't be proven that it's him. This gives Barry the idea that if his mom never forgot the tomato sauce, his dad would never have gone to get it and would have been home to protect his mother. He thanks Iris for the idea and then goes to put his plan into action. He changes into his suit and runs at hyper speed, arriving in chronospace. He goes back in time to see his mother shopping and discreetly puts a can of tomato sauce in her cart. He gives her a longing look and then returns to chronospace, hopeful that things will get back to normal when he returns to his time. He sees the difference in the timeline, his different birthdays, and his parents happy. But then a strange figure with purple lightning attacks him, knocking him out of chronospace. The portal closes, and Barry looks around. He steals clothes from an old couple and arrives at his old house. There, he meets his mom, alive and well, albeit older and with glasses. He is overwhelmed to see her, and also his dad, who greets him. They have lunch together, but then Barry notices that the Barry of the current timeline is about to arrive home. He rushes out to intercept him, interrogating him about which year it is. The 18-year-old Barry does not have powers yet and does not understand the presence of another him. He faints. Barry takes his younger self to their room, and there tries to explain everything to him. Young Barry is eager and annoyingly talkative, making the older Barry realize how he himself must annoy the Justice League with his talking. Younger Barry tells him how he had a date with the love of his life, Iris, when the older Barry notices the stormy weather and asks what date it is. Upon hearing the answer, older Barry realizes that today is the day he got his powers, and he tells young Barry that he needs to be at the forensic tower in 30 minutes. He carries his younger self, and using his vibrating power, they both enter the lab where he himself had gotten his powers. He seats young Barry in a chair next to certain chemicals and opens the window, telling him that the lightning needs to strike him. But hearing this, young Barry freaks out and tries to get away. Older Barry forces him back, and as they struggle, the lightning strikes. But as older Barry is standing between the lightning and young Barry, the lightning passes through him before it gets to young Barry. It burns a hole in young Barry's back, but we watch it quickly heal. The older Barry knows that it has worked, but when he tries to pass through the wall with his vibrating powers, he is unable to do so. He tries again by himself, but fails again. He then attempts to run at super speed, but ends up running normally. He then realizes that the lightning has taken his powers, and now young Barry has them. They return to young Barry's room, where he is not feeling his best. But older Barry is worried because, without his powers, he can't get back to his timeline and is stuck here. Meanwhile, younger Barry is now feeling better and is testing out his powers with the glee of a young boy. He runs around and goes out of his house, testing out the super speed. But his fun is dampened when he realizes that his clothes are burning and he freaks out. This causes a few accidents before he returns home naked. Older Barry is trying to tell him how he needs a special suit and everything, but young Barry is too busy stuffing food into his mouth to really listen to him. He then falls asleep when older Barry tries to give him a lesson on how to be the Flash. The next day, older Barry tells him about the Flash ring and how it will give him a suit to be able to use his powers. He also proposes to train young Barry so he can return older Barry to his time. But just then, everyone on this Earth hears a message by General Zod, who demands that Superman be handed over to him. Barry knows that Zod will destroy the Earth to get to Superman, and also that since no one at this time has heard of Superman, he either never came here or has not yet embraced his Superman identity. He decides to gather the Justice League himself, remembering how, in his time, even Superman had been unable to hold off Zod, and begins to research after getting young Barry in on the plan. He looks for Cyborg, but young Victor is still a student and has not gotten his powers yet. Wonder Woman has never been heard from, and same is the case with Aquaman. But the world does know about Batman. Both Barrys head over to Wayne's Manor, where they find the place in a terrible state. They are then attacked by an older Bruce Wayne, who is none other than Michael Keaton. After things calm down, Barry explains to Bruce how he went back in time to save his mother, but in doing so has created a timeline where so much is different. Bruce uses Spaghetti to tell him that in changing one event in the past, he has ruptured the previously known timeline, affecting the events before his mother's murder and those after it. Time is not linear, and in messing with it, he has created multiverses. Certain events will always be there, but most things will change. But when Barry asks for Bruce's help, he says that Batman is now retired, and he'll pass. Barry heads over to the Batcave, causing young Barry to fanboy over everything while older Barry uses Batman's computer to look for Superman. He looks for UFOs that were sighted near Kansas in the last 50 years. Young Barry annoys him with his non-seriousness, and older Barry tells him to realize the gravity of the situation. He's annoyed at how young Barry is taking everything for granted before realizing that it's not young Barry's fault. Young Barry also apologizes and promises to stay out of his way. Later, Barry talks to Bruce through a camera, knowing that the guy must be watching. He says that he's been thinking about how Bruce said that certain intersections must be inevitable in all the timelines, and says that Batman and Alfred are one of those intersections. This spurs the older Bruce Wayne to open a secret compartment in his office, which reveals the Batsuits. A while later, older Barry wakes up to find that Bruce has left a file for him which details a person with qualities similar to what he described about Superman, and how they are in Siberia. Young Barry begins drinking the coffee Bruce left, asking them how they're gonna get to Russia, when Batman arrives in his suit and lowers the Batship. He takes them to Russia, where they infiltrate a base where the Kryptonian ship is being kept and studied. But young Barry trips an alarm in his clumsiness, alerting the Russians to their presence. They open fire at them, but young Barry saves the older Barry using his speed. Batman arrives and takes out the remaining Russians. They now need to enter the Kryptonian ship, but need a key code, which young Barry finds after trying out all the possible combinations. Inside, they're surprised to find a weak young girl. Barry decides to take her along with them. They barely escape, but when they emerge outside, the Russians surround them. This is when the mysterious girl attacks and kills them single-handedly before passing out. The Barrys and Batman bring her to Wayne Manor, where she tells them that she is Superman's cousin, and that they were sent to Earth in different pods, but Superman never arrived. She was taken captive instead. Barry tells her to go recharge in the sunlight, which she does. Younger Barry goes to talk to her, and they discuss how Zod will kill billions of people, good people. But Kara says that she came to Earth seeking a safe place, but was instead put in a cage. Young Barry says that a lot of humans suck, but so many are worth saving. But Kara is unconvinced, saying that she is Kryptonian, and the humans don't mean anything to her. Bruce then goes to update older Barry that Kara has left. Older Barry is working on recreating the accident that gave him powers, despite Bruce's warning that it might kill him. But Barry wants to try, hoping that having powers will enable him to fight Zod. Bruce then asks Barry that if he gets his powers back, why would he want to stay here? Barry says that it is because of his mom. He wants to keep her safe. Meanwhile, Kara witnesses General Zod killing humans when they fail to bring him Superman. But Zod sees her before she leaves. Both Barrys and Bruce carry out his experiment, but the lightning almost kills Barry. He asks Bruce to keep going, but the machine's circuit is fried. Kara then arrives and carries Barry up into the clouds, where he's struck by more lightning. She brings him back, nearly fried to death, but he soon regenerates. Young Barry returns the ring to older Barry, having made a new suit for himself using an old Batsuit. Kara also agrees to help them defeat Zod. They all travel to where Zod is, and Kara goes to confront him. He says that he was the one who killed Superman while he was traveling to Earth, and that he kept the key to revive Krypton by destroying Earth in Kara. A fight begins, in which Kara manages to kill Zod and deactivate the terraforming, but he has stabbed her and she dies. Batman attacks a ship which has a shield which causes the Batship to malfunction. He intentionally crashes into the Kryptonian ship. These deaths cause young Barry to get very disturbed and run back into the past to save Supergirl and Batman. But despite both Flash's efforts, they die in another way. The younger Flash keeps going back in time to save them, losing his sanity with each attempt. Older Flash tries to tell him to accept that some things cannot be changed, and reveals that he came back in time to save their mother. But this makes matters worse. He keeps going back in time while the speedster who we had seen attacking Barry earlier in the movie appears. He attacks the older Flash, overpowering him when the younger Flash arrives and finds out that the speedster is him, older, deformed, and extremely powerful. He says that it is Barry's fault that the multiverses are now converging. We see various forms of Superman in different universes. The speedster plans on killing older Barry, but young Barry takes the blow, sacrificing himself and thus killing the mad speedster. Our Barry runs back to his time, stopping to remove the tomato sauce from his mom's cart. His mother recognizes him and gives him a hug. Barry returns to his timeline, where he finds a message from Iris. He rushes to the court where Batman's tech has helped in acquiring his father from prison, and he will now walk out a free man. Iris asks Barry out on a date when Bruce Wayne arrives, and we see another effect of messing with the timeline. This is not Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, but George Clooney. And this is where the movie ends. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.